Do we expect too much from life? Yeah, of course we do. All of us expect too much from life, especially these days. I think maybe years ago they expected a lot less. They expected a bit of food on the table, a shelter, depends what age we're talking about, but food on the table, a shelter, maybe an animal or two, a family, health to the age of 40. And with all of our advancements in technology, which are fantastic, I love science, and I'm glad that technology advances and has advanced so much. But they've made us comfortable. They've made us comfortable and used to having lots of things, used to having lots of opportunities, not just things, items, but opportunities, possibilities, expectations. You know, the expectation that your name would carry on for a couple of 100 years, which would be insane years ago. Tutankhamun, Ramses, or whatever. The expectation now is higher because we have the Beatles, the Rolling Stones, the Who, Stanley Kubrick, whatever. You know, now you have all of these opportunities to chisel your name in stone, and so there's this expectation, because that's a possibility. There's the expectation that you might be able to reach that. For example, as a child, you know, you grow up, I want to be a pop star, I want to be a famous actor, I want to be whatever. And these are things that we grab onto as well and expect things from. And so the more of those possibilities there are for normal people, the more expectations you have of those possibilities. Maybe it'll be me. You know, if there's no golden ticket in the chocolate bars, then you don't have to worry about getting one or not getting one. But as soon as you hear that there is one, then there's that small chance that it might be me, Charlie Bucket. And so, a lot like things, expectations are items, have become like consumer items that are desired. And all these things are great. It's great that we have all of these possibilities. It's great that it's great that I have more than one coat and so on. But at the same time, all of these things make us comfortable. All of these things don't necessarily make us unhappy. And in fact, having more choices does not make you happy. There's research into happiness when people are given choices to purchase a picture that they've chosen, for example, or I think it was photographs that they shot themselves, and they were given a choice of 5 or however many, and one group got the one they chose, and that was that, and the other group had the choice and had the chance to change that back again after a week or so. The ones that had the choice were not happy with what they chose. The ones who didn't have a choice were happy with what they had. And so happiness and choice and more possibilities go hand in hand, but not necessarily the way you think. So, do we expect too much of life? Yes, of course we do. We have all of these opportunities now, we have all of these choices that we didn't have before, and so we have more expectations because of those choices, and those choices don't necessarily make us happy. And lots of ideas, concepts, maybe like religion, for example, might make us feel more valuable than we are. I'm not trying to devalue life, I'm not trying to devalue each individual person, I think life is very precious, and each individual is precious, your little precious life that you have. But seen from the point of view of someone who doesn't believe in afterlives and heavens and hells and things, this is it, this finite little life, and then off to oblivion. And so that makes life very precious, but it also makes it very banal. When people die, you hear their relatives and friends saying, "It was weird, I expected the world to stop. Nothing happened." For you, it's spectacular. For you, it's the end of the world. And yet, you look out the window and people are just going about their normal business, as if everything was perfectly okay, and your world has fallen to pieces. That's the reality of the situation. It carries on. Robert Frost, if I've learnt anything about life, it's that it goes on. And so we're in this sort of conundrum. Life is extremely precious, and yet it's extremely banal and everyday, because we can see it in everything. It's finding a balance between those two things that maybe makes life worthwhile. So having too many expectations of life, expecting to be special, expecting special things, expecting your life to be the glittering, shining life in the myriad of lives that we've had and are to come, is ridiculous. And I know that nobody, or very few people, think of it exactly that way, but I think that the media, for example, leads young people to thinking that way, to thinking about life as some kind of special jewel that's been given just to them. I think it's good to have both parts of the story, to know that you're precious and you've been given a gift, and at the same time to know that that gift is completely banal and will be taken from you like that, without a whimper or a bat of an eyelid. No fireworks, no spectacle. No one will care apart from the people who liked you and loved you. But otherwise life will go on. So, as I used to say when I was young, if you don't have expectations, you'll never be disappointed. It now turns out to be true than I expected. So how do you find that balance then between making a life or living a life that's sort of productive and makes sense, and a life that is completely the polar opposite to that, a completely pointless life? Well, you find meaning and sense in the things you do every day, in the processes that you go through, in your creativity. Maybe you put something out there. Maybe for some people it's communicating with people or mixing with people, having friends and going places, travelling. There are dozens of things you can do to give your life personal meaning, but at the same time knowing that there is no intrinsic meaning in life. And it's not a balancing point where you stay standing on the knife edge perfectly still. I think it's more a balancing act where you wobble constantly from one to the other. I certainly do. I wobble between meaningful and meaningless. And that's how you master your life day by day, I think, by creating your own meaning and at the same time acknowledging that life is essentially meaningless. Your little life. Whether there's a meaning outside, beyond all of this, I don't know. I doubt it. I think it's just a process going on. Beautiful process. And you're part of it, and that's beautiful. But the process doesn't care about you as an individual. So find balance in your life and make balance in your life, and don't follow the expectations of others either. You should have this, you should have a house, you should have this car, you should be going on this holiday, you should be doing these dangerous sports, and so on. That's completely pointless as well. You have to choose and find your own meaning, not following the meaning of adverts, multimedia, the things that you're fed from this thing all the time. But meaning, you imbue your life with its own meaning. Have a lovely weekend.